What is going on, movie meals? Movie meals, guys. Before we get into the video, remember, thank you to our patrons, Stephen Kimley. You guys rock. Please become a patron. The link's in the description at patreon.com/movie meals. Also, our merch out, Valentine's Day merch. A lot of really cool stuff. We've got plays off of this classic film Casablanca. We've got some designs Kyle made that are awesome about just, let's be honest, the thing we love more than anything, not only on Valentine's Day, but just in life, is snacks. We got I Love Snacks shirts. I got one that should be hopefully here today or Monday, or yesterday or tomorrow. But here we are, WandaVision episode 5. We have 3 left, which is crazy, but let's just get into it. We're not going to do positives, negatives. We're just going to jump into a discussion. And I want to start this off because I'm going to start off with
spoilers.
I want to start off with the biggest moment of the show.
Yes.
Because I think it's the most interesting moment. So,
Catherine Hahn made you laugh. Oh.
Kyle and I joked all week when Elizabeth Olsen had her interview and said that there was a cameo on the scale of Luke Skywalker Mandalorian. Yeah. Kyle and I were joking, and we both agreed. It's like, all right, look, even Robert Downey Jr., who's the most beloved actor and character in this show, his cameo is not Luke Skywalker in the way it was used in Mandalorian. And we even joked, because I brought up to Kyle, I was like, man, we've seen in the trailers, we still have not had that Halloween episode. What if Mark Hamill plays Luke Skywalker in like the background, and that it's literally, she is exactly telling us what it is? Obviously it wasn't. But so the reveal is, and I got up early and watched it, and normally I'm the first in our group to watch it, but our buddy Carson, who's an hour ahead of us, had woken up early and watched it as well. And he put in our chat, like, holy crap, that cameo. And I wasn't sure if she meant the cameo was this episode. And I was in the middle of the episode. So when I saw that message just pop up on my watch, I was like, all right, well, I know it's coming now. So I was just kind of sitting there waiting for it. And I loved the episode as a whole, outside of the cameo. But so it reveals that, you know, Vision in this episode is starting to get a little more conscious of what's happening. And that moment where they have like the fight or they're about to duke it out is awesome.
Vision actually yelled.
Woo! That's awesome. It was like, cool seeing Vision have, what's been cool about this show is Vision has legit emotion. Where he is in Ultron, he's a little more of a computer, and he slowly starts to devolve into human, and it's cool to see that. But he really gets it in this. But all right, so the reveal, knock on the door, she opens it, it cuts to the silver hair, and I said out loud, Aaron Taylor Johnson is finally back, and I was happy. I was like, it's not Luke, but I am happy. And they show it's Evan Peters, and I lost it because we didn't discuss that as a possibility. We never touched on it. And I think it's obvious. And I'm kind of glad, though, that we'd never thought that that's what they would. We were like, they'll pull in Fassbender Magneto. But we didn't think that they would pull in that Quicksilver. And I loved it. And I think it's super. I am a little bummed because I still just, part of me wants him in Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver back in some way. And I wonder, I remember a report long ago that he said he wasn't going to come back in any capacity. And I don't know if that's accurate. I could be making it up, but I thought I remember hearing that. And I just wonder if that is really true. Because he kind of did the blockbuster thing and it didn't work out super well for him with Godzilla and this. And I think he just was enjoying making the smaller movies and shows. But I mean, he was just in Tenet, as Kyle reminds me. But thank you. I love it. I think it's super interesting. And I keep using that word interesting because I think there's two real possibilities. One, he is nobody. He's not Quicksilver. He's no one. He is just a random a guy in the town that she got that we haven't seen yet and just changed his demeanor. And then they just put in Evan Peters because they think it's fun, and Aaron Taylor Johnson doesn't come back. That is all possible. I don't think that's it. I think in her anger, I think he is going to be Quicksilver in the new MCU. I think she has ripped open the multiverse, and without her knowing it, she grabbed somebody with that powers subconsciously and brought him here. And I think when she stares at him, she's not only staring at him as her brother and a version of her brother, but she is staring at the fact that she is trying to figure out why he is there. Who is he? Because it's not Aaron Taylor Johnson. And I think this is what alerts Doctor Strange. And I think it's when she gets up in the air and hits on Vision, I think in her anger and her subconscious and her grief, her powers of the Mind Stone. So her mind works in crazy ways. I think it pulled Evan Peters here and changed his memory and changed everything and ripped him out, and it opened the multiverse. And this is how the Fantastic Four or the X-Men are going to be brought in. And I don't know if they're going to bring in everyone. I kind of low-key hope they bring in the entire kid cast, because I think that cast is super great, with Jean Grey and everybody. But they just got bad movies. But that is my theory. I've talked a lot, Kyle. What do you think?
Well, first I'll start out with my reaction, because it was similar. Because I was like, "Oh my god, finally they brought back Aaron Taylor Johnson. They're giving him justice." And then I saw it was Evan Peters. I was like, "Still cool, but crap."
Yeah. There's a moment where you're like, yes, like.
But then, yeah, exactly. So I wish he could have came back, but I think it is, in a way, it's kind of funny. Like, it's like Darcy said, it's a recast. Like in a sitcom, if a character or an actor leaves, it's a recast, and they recasted Quicksilver in a way.
That line is great. She recast Pietro, like,
and it kind of makes sense in like the sitcom way, because we've seen that happen before.
Yeah.
So my two theories are pretty much similar to yours. Like, either I think they decided not to bring back Aaron Taylor Johnson, but they thought that this would just be a fun way to, dig deep into the Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch relationship, while also, making it like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge type situation to the audience. And it could mean nothing. Or it could mean that the multiverse is being split open, and this is the first sign that a new Quicksilver has switched from them over to her side of the universe or whatever. Right now, I feel like it's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge situation, but I won't be shocked if later down the road we find out that the X-Men are in another multiverse. I do think that is like the most likely outcome, because it's going to be so hard to introduce mutants as like a thing within like the MCU world, that it makes sense to do it like on another world.
What did they call them? There was a name they were giving them when they didn't own the right to mutants. Do you remember what they were calling them in Ultron?
They called it...
Were they just enhanced humans?
I don't know if it was they had a name. Ultron. I know in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they, instead of using mutants, they used Inhumans, and it was kind of like the same thing, and Inhumans was supposed to like
be their version of
more into that with the show, but the show sucked, and they just abandoned the Inhumans thing in general, I believe.
I remember like on old episodes of like Collider and Movie Talk of them discussing that they were using that word, a new word instead of mutants. Because I remember us talking.
I remember
about
Inhumans. But maybe
it might have been else. Inhumans. But yeah. So I think, and I tweeted this, I think Kevin Feige, follow me on Twitter at MovieMeow. I think Kevin Feige continues to. I think he's a genius, and I'm never going to stop being baffled by his genius. I think he said, we're going to see if the audience can handle the multiverse in Spider-Man. And we're going to trick them by thinking it's happened and see if they can accept it. And I think we all accepted it. And then when we realized it didn't actually happen, we're like, oh, interesting. But we accepted that the multiverse is possible. Sure. And when he did that, he went, all right, good. Now I can do my next part of my plan. I don't think Sword has the ability to call in a Doctor Strange as a character. I don't think they have the street cred to call in Doctor Strange. But what does have the ability to pull in Doctor Strange, who protects our reality, is the multiverse accidentally being ripped open by somebody so mad and angry in their grief.
Yeah.
That they, and can we talk real quick? That moment where she walks out of her bubble with the drone and she makes all the lasers point at him.
I'm glad we bring this up.
Awesome.
Yes.
It's awesome. It's straight horror and it is so cool. And I want to point this out too. And I don't know if you noticed this. When she summons her like ether in her hand, in the past, it's been some. And in Endgame, it's a little bigger. And in this, she like forms an entire ball. It's bigger. Like her power is bigger. And I think she's gotten stronger. And I think it's a subtlety. Because even when she flies in the air to like maybe duke it out with Vision, she's holding like a ball of energy that is just completely surrounding the ether. Where before it's just a little, she does her little hand movements and it's just some of the ether kind of floating around. And I think she has gotten a lot stronger. And this show, again, I'm so glad is what we're getting after Endgame over Black Widow. I am enjoying this so much more. And I'll probably really enjoy Black Widow, but I think this is such a nice.
You go. Sorry.
It's refreshing.
Yes. Yeah. That's basically what I was going to say. Did you also notice her Sokovian accent kind of sneaking in? Yeah. I thought that
still wasn't very good, but it came back.
I don't know. For some reason, I liked it, but I don't know.
Maybe I liked it too, and I thought it was better, but I didn't think it was perfect.
Sure. I mean, it's also made up Russian, so it's
it was. It was when she came out of the bubble and she went straight back to Sokovian, and she was talking the accent. I will say that Rambo though said, "Oh, I know a physicist that can come in and help," and she sent a text, and they kept the camera on the phone, and then she put her phone down, and then it cut. Who do you think she talked to? Because I was assuming that was the cameo. And my guess was that it was going to be Tony's daughter, was my guess. I was like, I wonder if we've done a time skip that we're unaware of and she's a bit older. And she's like a genius now. But to me being an idiot.
Yeah, I don't think so, because it's still 5 years.
Reed Richards was my other thought.
I remember the creator of the show saying Fantastic Four isn't involved with this.
I know.
And I'm still going to believe in the creator. I think she's doing a really good job with this show, and she's being kept on her word with it.
Kyle.
It really could be, and I could be an idiot about it, but I'm going to buy into like what the showrunner is saying. But I mean, if it is Reed Richards, sign me up. That'd be awesome.
I mean, if it's Reed Richards and he doesn't have his powers, the Fantastic Four are not in this. That's just a thing for all the nerds. Yeah. Like let's say that does happen and it's Reed Richards and he's just a young legit scientist and it's John Krasinski and it blows our minds. All the casual fan knows, if they don't know the name, is that John Krasinski is playing a physicist in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We go, holy cow, they just dropped that we're about to get something cool. And that might be, if there's a smoke screen, that's probably how they do it, is by them saying, oh, the Fantastic Four is not in this, to, well, the Fantastic Four isn't in this, but Reed Richards is without powers. But it might also just be Bruce Banner.
Oh, it could be too.
Because he's the only other scientist we have left. Or
for some reason, I was thinking about Ant-Man the Wasp with Lawrence Fishburne for some reason, because he was like some sort of scientist, right? But
he'd be good, yeah. And he went back to the good side. That would be that would make sense off of what they're doing with Kat Dennings and bringing back these smaller characters. That's a good call. It could be Michael Douglas too. He's alive. It could be Michael Douglas. If we just know it's not Paul Rudd because the man doesn't have the smarts.
No, probably wouldn't be him. Not a neurophysicist, science, whatchamacallit. Not one of those people.
Or it could be Shuri.
I don't see that. I don't think so. I mean, I would love it, but I don't think it's Shuri, because I just don't know how they would be connected in the first place, because Wakanda hasn't been, open to the public until
they've been open
pre-Infinity War. What?
Yeah, they're open to the public.
But they were open to the public once Infinity War kind of began, and then the blip happened, and both Rambeau and Shuri were blipped out. So, like in the 3 weeks, I don't think they would have. In the 3 weeks after Endgame, I don't think they would have met each other. So
sure, I'm with you.
But I would love it. I would love it.
That's a good point. What'd you think of the Captain Marvel thing? I really liked it. I thought it was
That
great.
was interesting. I was wondering like what her reaction to that was supposed to be because
she looked annoyed. She didn't want to talk about it.
Which I'm not sure. Oh, maybe she's mad at. Okay, you go. And I have my own idea. I was gonna think maybe she's mad at Captain Marvel because Captain Marvel wasn't there for her mom. Like she left again, and then her mom died, and she wasn't there.
I think you're completely right.
That
she wasn't there at the deathbed.
That must be it. Oh, that's gonna come into play.
Trying to save other worlds. Yeah, and Captain Marvel too. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think Sword's gonna be involved in Captain Marvel too, and I bet Monica Rambeau is gonna play a big part in it.
Yeah, because it takes place in today's time now, right? We're following back Carol Danvers. I'm asking, aren't we? I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I'm sure it does. So. Yeah, I'm sure it will be.
I really liked that they had the whole conversation with the other two, where it was like, well, she did like single, like, and they don't call her Scarlet Witch, and I like that they pointed that out, that she doesn't have a name. And I wonder if at the end of this they're going to give her a name and call her like, or if like Doctor Strange shows up and goes, oh, she's the Scarlet Witch, like somebody's going to drop it.
Or if she, becomes a villain, because it's possible that like she's the villain to her own story in a way, and maybe at the end she does turn full villain and they give her that name or something. It could be like her evil name, because they never gave it to her throughout her time in the MCU. She's always been known as Wanda.
It is more of a villainous name. I know it's a hero name, but Scarlet Witch sounds a little more like a villain name to me.
Well, she was a villain to begin with before she switched to the good side with Quicksilver. So, yeah.
I like that they have that little banner where she's like, man, she was going to single-handedly take out Thanos. And then he's like, well, Captain Marvel also was, single-handedly taking out Thanos. And I like that they had like, because that's how the world they set up is that these heroes exist in our world today. That yes, the technology might be a little more advanced than what we actually have, and I like that because that's how we talk about them, and it's real.
Oh, yeah.
And
we're doing it right now.
I know. And I thought that was great. And I think the show, now, isn't it the writer of this show is writing, isn't he writing a Star Wars movie?
Oh, is the showrunner a he? I thought it was a she for some reason, but
I thought, well, it might, there's a difference between the showrunner and the writer.
Okay. I don't know now. Maybe.
Let me see. Because isn't somebody from the MCU doing the Kevin Feige movie, and then Taika's doing his own separate movie? Isn't that what they announced?
I'm sorry. I don't recall who the writers were, because the Feige thing is just so unknown that I just haven't really thought about looking into it that much. I don't know who's connected to what projects exactly.
So there is a whole writer's room. There's 13 people. Right, this says 9 episodes.
Ooh.
I thought we were getting 8.
I thought so too, but I guess we've been wrong this whole time.
Are we?
WandaVision after show.
So I think what you're thinking of, Jack Schaefer, who is a woman, who is considered the creator of the show. And she worked on 9 episodes. I'm trying to think of the person I'm thinking of for
because it always comes back to Star Wars.
Well, I'm just curious because if it is the writer of WandaVision, because I remember saying I'm nervous about it. But I completely changed my tune if it's the guy from WandaVision, because I'm all in on this. So those
writers are going to get some jobs for sure.
They don't even have his Star Wars thing.
I'm now wondering
here it is.
Oh, did you find it? Okay.
So it's Michael Waldron. Okay, it's the guy who made Loki. I knew it was one of them. So he wrote Loki. He wrote for Rick and Morty and was a co-creator on that. And he wrote Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness, and Loki. But he did not.
This guy's getting work under Feige. Wow. And Feige's a Rick and Morty fan, clearly.
Well, it means he understands the properties because they poke so much fun at sci-fi and these type of stuff in that. But I was just curious because this woman, Jack, whatever she wants to do next, I'm all for. She is, as a creator and a head writer, knocking it out of the park. This show is awesome. Sure. I can't believe how much I like it, to the point where I was talking last night with some of our buddies, and I asked them, because I texted you about Nocturnal Animals, because I couldn't remember that movie Aaron Taylor Johnson's just so freaking good in.
My favorite movie of what year? 2016 was it?
He was
I think
robbed of an Oscar nom. Robbed of an Oscar nom.
I agree with that. Oh yeah.
I was asking him what they thought of WandaVision, and one of our buddies, friend of the show, said he wasn't digging the first few eps. It wasn't what he wanted. You know, we talked quite a bit about that, not getting what you want right away. But he was saying he's completely turned his tune, and he was like, I'm eating a little bit of crow. Nice. I love what they're doing with this show. And I couldn't agree more. It's awesome. It is awesome. Is there anything else? So I do think they have ripped open the multiverse. I think this is how they get everybody in. And I think that's how Deadpool's coming in. It's how, if they do the Young X-Men, if they do all the X-Men, and if you're all of the Fox X-Men people, I'm going to even throw in Jennifer Lawrence in that group. If you're in that crew and you're crossing your fingers to bring you in, how do you say no to coming back? How do you say no to that? Because the MCU is how do you go watch Endgame? Like, Michael Fassbender went with his wife, Alicia Vikander, and just went and watched Endgame, and they're just like, man, if they give me the call, I'm going. Like, how do you not? And what was Evan Peters Quicksilver's name? Was it Peter instead of Pietro? I thought it was Peter Maximoff.
I thought I remembered it as Pietro, but maybe they did change it, because I guess he's not exactly Russian in Days of Future Past and whatever. At least I think
I'm gonna look it up.
Russian characters, probably something like that.
Man, I hope Hugh Jackman
Sokovian, whatever in the MCU. It's supposed to be.
I want one cameo is all I need, whether he's a full movie, but give me one cameo with Hugh Jackman. I know he won't do it, but I want it so bad.
That like Ryan Reynolds apparently had like an initial script for Deadpool 3, and it was supposed to be like a road trip movie with Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I don't know if it was true or not, but
said no. I remember hearing that.
I don't know. I mean, it's such a weird feeling, because that would be awesome, but Logan was such a good last hurrah. I don't know. Like, me when it comes to stuff like having finality to them.
Logan was so good though.
He was robbed of an Oscar. Come on now.
He really was. Anything else you want to talk about?
I want to bring up the twins, man. I want to know what's going to happen to them.
Are they real or not?
Tykes.
What do you think?
I want to know if they're real or not. I want to know. I wonder if they have powers, because if they're growing, is it because of Wanda, or is it because of them, like, wanting to control things in the world instead of Wanda, if they're becoming more aware of the situation or something? I don't know. Like, I think initially I wasn't too sure if they were going to be like real. And I think you were saying like, you bet that they're going to become real and be a part of like a Young Avengers team in the future.
And I stick to that.
And I'm starting to waver on that too. Like, I'm wondering if they're becoming so real.
Sorry, real quick. They call him Peter in the Fox universe, not Pietro. Okay. He's Peter. And I remember his sister is not a twin. She's like younger in those. Remember they did like a tease where she was younger.
Yeah, he was like holding her because she was like an infant or something.
Yeah, right? She's like a 2-year-old or something. But anyway, I think they're real. I think she manifested them. I think she created them.
Must be. Do you think when we're saying that this version of Quicksilver is the version from the Fox properties, or do we think it's a different interpretation, not like really from the Fox properties, like from another multiverse?
I think they could. I don't think you bring in Evan Peters to not be the one we know. I think it has to be the one we know. I think you can bring in any random actor if you're pulling him from anywhere, and it works fine. And I hope they do, because, and I've talked about this, the speed is cool on a cartoon with like the Flash and stuff, because you can make him do a lot more in animation. And it's just kind of like the Flash show, and I like Aaron Taylor Johnson, but it just, when you just do the stream, it doesn't add a whole lot. But what they did so uniquely was slowing everything else down and having him do it, and it was just a lot cooler. And I think that's why, because when those movies, they came out in the same year, people were like, didn't gravitate towards Aaron Taylor Johnson as much, because a few months earlier we got a better version of it.
And he died.
And I think, yeah, and I think it's the same one with the same powers. And I think that's really cool. Some people I saw on Twitter were saying, I can't remember the song, but the song that he plays in Days of Future Past that he first listens to, that's become kind of like iconic. People were like, man, it would have been cool if they had put that in the score behind the music or whatever. But
will we get a scene of that?
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Maybe. Maybe.
And this next episode's going to be awesome. I think stuff's really about to hit the fan with whatever physicist's going to show up. But I do think the kids are real, and I do think it's their own powers. And I think that's cemented in this episode when she says to them, do not age. You need to stay at this age. You can't go older to get, and I think what she means by that is when they age, they're creating the rest of their life. I don't think they black out the rest of their life. They age up their memories. So I think they create memories within themselves of their old times.
I do wonder, though, this is just a thought that I had in my head real quick. Like, I do wonder if they're going to become the villains of this show. Like, if they do what
cool.
Wanda is doing now times 1,000, and then Wanda has no choice but to
join them,
end things.
Maybe they ripped open the multiverse. Maybe
they could,
because doesn't she kill them in a comic? You said,
in the House of M storyline,
she kills them, right? Is that what happens? Do they get crazy powerful and she ends up having to kill them?
I believe so. If I remember,
if they don't go the new Avengers,
someone in the comments help out if you guys know better than I do.
If they don't go new Avengers, I bet you that's what they do with this. Some people were saying, shout out to Tanner, friend of the show, does the Star Wars podcast with me. He was mentioning that maybe they're corpses, like Vision is, and maybe she's doing something real sick with them, and that they're not real. And how awesome is that scene where she breaks into sword and Vision's being studied, and they have him ripped apart, and she steals his corpse. That's awesome. I loved it.
Wished that reveal was a bit different. But I was
not on a security camera.
Like instead of
POV.
Sorry, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
You wish that it was like a POV, like we were physically watching Wanda break in and take the corpse.
Yeah, and also not have it be like a semi-expositional dump explanation of it. Like all of a sudden they just reveal that in episode 5. It's like, really? Like you revealing that now? Or I don't know. I thought it was cool looking, but I wish the reveal would happen in a different way. But it's fine. It's a little nitpick thing that I wish happened differently, but it still works. It's
more interesting that Sword took Vision and is studying him. That somehow Sword got his body. It's in Wakanda.
And apparently he has a will.
Like, yeah. Well, I mean, he is an android. You'd think he would think of that, especially.
Yeah.
All it took for him was one moment where he was like, wait a minute, Wanda needs to kill me in Infinity War. And he just uploaded it to the web. Like, it probably wasn't hard for him. He uploaded it to
Sword. But I wonder why they're studying him, though. Like, what's the purpose there?
And
it's 5 years in the future. Why are you still studying him?
I mean, he is a super high-tech android that had the power of an Infinity Stone forever. And remember, he's many minds overlaid. Remember, he's the mind. They said it's Banner's mind, Tony's mind, Ultron's mind, and the stone. Mm-hmm. So maybe they're isolating those individual minds, and they're trying to like get Tony in an AI or something.
That actually, you actually did remind me of a buddy of our show, Josh. Shout out to him. He also did give me a theory yesterday. Like, what if this situation with Vision reactivates Ultron? And they brought up Ultron once. I'm like, that's not a bad theory at all, man.
A couple times.
Yeah.
So Ultron would come back as a villain?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. Ultron being back would be interesting. And then maybe that's I don't know where you go with that, because I don't want that another Avengers movie. I don't want another Avengers where now the new cast has to fight Ultron. Mainly because the villain has to be Ultron was a big threat, but he's not Thanos. And the next Avengers villain, I think, needs to be more powerful than Ultron, but maybe not as powerful. Because like Captain Marvel can't be in that movie. Captain Marvel would wipe the floor with Ultron.
I think the next big bad Thanos level guy is going to be Kang the Conqueror, because they already they announced that they casted him for like Ant-Man 3, and I'm really hoping it's not for some dumb bit role. I feel like that could come into play for like
playing him.
I can't remember the actor's name, but he's the guy from Lovecraft County.
Okay, that's what my guess was. Now, Kane is that not the Spider-Man villain? The Hunter dude? No, that's the Hunter guy.
No, you're thinking of Kraven.
Who is Kane? Can you give me a refresher?
He's a time traveler from like the 31st century or way deep in the future, and pretty much he's just like a villain that has like time travel capabilities, and he's always trying to rule time.
Do you think they're going to bring that in then with Loki? They'll tease him in Loki more than anything since they're dealing with time?
It could. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way, but that could be one of the introduction points for him, as well as Ant-Man 3.
It could be that it's I have two questions, or a statement and a question. My statement is it could just be as small as they drop the name. Like it's like, oh, we have this one guy who's been time traveling that we've been trying to catch named Kane. Is it Kane or Kanan?
Kane.
Kanan is from Rebels. Kane. So it could be a name drop. It could be he's a big player in Loki. But why do you think they're going that route instead of going with like another Eternal, or bringing over like Galactus or something, now that they own the rights to all these other characters?
Could be Galactus.
Or Magneto. Magneto being the big bad villain again would be interesting in the MCU, if they recast it or not. But why do you think it's him?
Mostly from my perspective, from comics I've read and interpretations I've seen of him, I feel like he could be a Thanos level type character. But I do worry that it's not, because the announcement for his casting was for like Ant-Man 3. So I'm like, man, I really hope that they're not like just dumping him off as like one and done. I feel like this character could have potential. So it's just me. It's me personally like speculating like this character could be like Thanos level, and it makes sense with his time traveling abilities and multiverse stuff. Like maybe it can come into play for, like you were saying, Loki, or maybe even WandaVision. Maybe we could get a peek of that, but it's very loose theories that are just coming into my head. Like I have nothing to back this up on.
I don't know if Ultron comes back, but what might be cool is if they go with a nightmare at any point, or if her mind is going too out of control, that we get like a horror moment of Ultron. Like he pops up and we get one line of James, James
Spader.
James Spader. I was going to say James Earl Jones. That's what I get for filming this after Star Wars. But that would be cool. That would be cool. I'm loving this show. And have you seen the internet divide it started, where people are praising this show for bringing back the water cooler love for shows, that people are loving that they have to wait a week? I've been seeing it all over Twitter.
People are now on board.
Heard about this?
No.
Oh yeah, I've been avoiding. There are articles. Variety just had an article saying that Disney is bringing back the non-binging format or something, and it's getting
the boys already did that.
Well, every show but a Netflix show is doing that. Every single platform does it this way. They might, like the Boys release is the first. I know, and we talked a lot about it last night. I posed the question to some of the guys when we were playing games too. It's just like, I do prefer the binge or the watching weekly format for all shows. I think it's better for every show. I think every single show on the planet is fine in either format. I think Stranger Things, you get all at once, would be great. I actually think Stranger Things, more than anything, would be great if you got it weekly, because you would really theorize about that show. A show like Glow, all at once is a little better, but if I got it weekly, I'd be fine. You know what I mean? I obviously, those nerd shows, you like to talk and theorize. I point to The Witcher on Netflix, where it's like, man, The Witcher came and went. It was good. I liked it, but it's gone. I don't talk about it. I don't think about it unless I'm bringing it up as a point against Netflix's format. But there's legit, there was Twitter. It was trending for a little bit of people wanting Netflix to end the binge, because they like this, and WandaVision's kind of leading that. And I think Kevin Feige.
What a concept!
Yeah, wow.
What a concept, guys. Who would have thought?
if we had gotten WandaVision all at first, we would have been done talking about this and been moved on and ready to go for Black Widow in the first week of January. And instead, we're 5 episodes in, and we have another apparently 4 to go. 4 episodes.
We know how many episodes.
I swore I heard 8, which makes this really curious. If they maybe they're going to have a surprise episode, or maybe that's the next pilot, or there's just 9 and we're idiots. But
could be the 3rd one.
Anything else on this episode?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything and more. Like, great job with this show. You're keeping me invested much more than I thought I would be at the start. And yeah, I can't wait to see where this goes.
I just can't doubt Kevin Feige. Even his misses aren't bad misses. I mean, when you think of the bad movies he has, like Thor 2 or Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3, I still like them to some capacity. I don't hate them. You know,
yeah, they're not like garbage.
He doesn't
have
a Rise of Skywalker in there.
Yeah.
I still enjoy him. He just knocks out of the park. And to the point where I liked Kat Dennings' character in the first Thor, did not like her very much in the second Thor, so I was fine that they didn't get rid of her. I'm loving her back. I think she's awesome. I love her and the FBI agent. I love their banter. I love the humor they bring. It's just better. They just get the game now, man. It's amazing. He went from the new like hot shot, quarterback to like the 10-year vet who it's like you just can't doubt anymore. It's just awesome. All right.
It's
well,
crazy.
For the WandaVision after show, guys, again, thank you to our patrons. Go become a patron. Go get some of this merch. It is awesome. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, share. We will see you for WandaVision next week. And as always, thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.